It's 2:14 in the morning and Emily's chest feels like someone got their hands wrapped around her heart and they're squeezing. The pain shoots up into her jaw, down her arm. She can't catch her breath. The clock next to her bed keeps ticking. 2:14, 2:15, and she's thinking this might be it. But this isn't the first time tonight. Country General ER, and Emily sits on the paper-covered gurney, burning tightness crawling in her chest and creeping up into her face. They clip on wires around the EKG, but nothing unusual lights up. A nurse draws blood for something called the troponin test. The results come back normal. The resident, who looks like he graduated medical school last week, barely looks up from his clipboard where he just wrote atypical chest pain. Probably acid reflux, he says. Follow up with your primary care tomorrow. Emily wants to mention that the pain feels different than heartburn, but old habits of pleasing everyone kick in. She quietly gets the papers, anti-acid pills, and walks out, feeling slightly stupid. Emily is slouched in the back of an Uber. The hospital folder keeps sliding against her knees every time they turn a corner. She's rubbing her chest, and jaw is still tight. But she's starting to believe them. Maybe it really is just a heartburn. Her ex always said she overreacted to everything. Then the car hits a pothole and suddenly something clicks. Emily remembers a video she just watched a few days ago. Some YouTuber saying, "Your health is your responsibility. Educated people live longer not because they're smarter, but because they know how and when to advocate for themselves." That time it seemed like obvious wellness advice, but now it hits differently. Emily looks down at the hospital folder, atypical chest pain, like there is a right way and a wrong way to have chest pain. She got a choice here. She can go home, take some Tums and hope for the best. Or go home and figure out what she doesn't know. 10 o'clock at night, Emily is at her kitchen table, laptop open. She starts where everyone gets these days. ChatGPT, Google. What to say in ER, chest pain. The results look decent, but not quite matching how she feels. She. In a moment of pure inspiration, she adds one word to the search line. ER, chest pain, woman. Woman's heart attack symptoms might be different from the Hollywood clutch your chest and fall over thing. And troponin tests, they need to be done multiple times, hours apart, because heart attacks don't always show up immediately. So Emily starts taking notes. On a piece of paper, she writes, "Here's woman's heart attack symptoms. Jaw, face tight, nausea, shortness of breath. Then one troponin test, not enough. Please put me on your chest pain work. If I'm low risk, what should I do home?" The weird pain returns, even worse this time. And Emily grabs that piece of paper, scribbles the time on it, contemplates the cost of 911 for a second, and then calls another Uber. Same sliding doors, same hospital, but this time Emily is not exactly the same person. She's armed with knowledge and, what's much more important, she's ready to use it. "You were here not a long time ago," the nurse says, after looking at her chart. "Your tests were normal." But Emily doesn't say, "Sorry to bother you again." Instead, she slides that piece of paper across the desk. "That was 5 hours ago," she says. "Can you run it again?" The nurse finally looks up from the computer screen, looks at Emily, looks at the paper, looks at Emily again, stands up, and disappears. A few minutes later, the attending physician comes over. He glances at Emily's paper, with handwritten notes. Alright, he says. Repeat the troponin. The results show up all in red. That same resident who sent her home with antacids won't even make an eye contact. The attending physician looks at Emily with something like respect. "You were right to come back," he says. Emily is in the cath lab. They use her wrist for access. It's like a little pinch, and then she feels them threading a tube up to her heart. She's awake, but everything feels distant, like it's happening to someone else. And then the pain and the tightness, slowly, they all fade away. But all she can think is, if she'd just gone home, if she'd stayed polite, she would be dead. Emily is finally cleared. Her wrist aches from the procedure, but she's alive. And she knows exactly why. Papers in hand, she heads towards the exit, but stops right there, near the doors. She looks down at her crumpled note, the one that saved her life. Then she turns around and marches back to the ER and that familiar triage desk. "I need to use your copier," she tells the nurse. She gets the nod towards the machine. Then Emily grabs a marker and writes 3 large words across the top of her note. She feeds it through the machine a few times. The first printout goes on the nurse's desk. Second, to a slightly lost woman in the waiting area, rubbing her jaw. And as Emily heads out through the sliding doors, the nurse picks up her copy from the desk. She reads the 3 words across the top, then reads them again, and something shifts in her expression. She stands up, moves to the welcome board, and pins the note there for everyone to see. Alright, this video wraps Mind Your Mind longevity pillars section. Watch the previous one about finding the meaning for your life, which is essential for longevity and daily happiness as well. Living is smart, aging is bad, and I'll see you there.